Greetings. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dr. Scott Simpkins, and I'll be the instructor for this course, Intermediate Macroeconomic Theory, this semester. I'm also the department chair in the Department of Economics. So I just want to go through a few things about the course and what you can expect, what we'll be doing in the course in general. And so I think that will provide some useful background for you. So I'm going to share my screen to get us started and go through a few things with you in this video. So this is Econ 313, Intermediate Macroeconomic Theory. And I just want to, as I said, go through a few things to help you get oriented to the course. So I first want to talk a little bit about unprecedented economic times we're experiencing. It's a great time to be taking macroeconomics, and I'll say a bit more about that in just a moment. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about what the course is about, and then what you can expect during the course to help set your expectations for the rest of the semester. So let's get started. So the economic times that we're in right now really are pretty amazing. The things that are listed here, we're still in a global pandemic that has affected not only the health of people across the world, but also the economic behavior of people and the economies of countries around the world. We've been in a recession and now are in an economic recovery, partly due to the government kinds of policy responses, as well as the Federal Reserve monetary policy responses. We're experiencing supply chain issues that are getting in the way of making goods and services available in some cases on a timely basis. And also labor supply issues. You probably have experienced that. This is a great time if you're looking for a job. Lots of job openings, but many companies are having a tough time filling open positions because of those labor supply issues. Partly as a result of the supply chain issues, the labor supply issues, as well as the fiscal and monetary policy responses, we're starting to see some significant inflation in the economy, something we haven't seen for a long time. And then there's ongoing discussion about new fiscal policies and what the Federal Reserve is going to be doing over the next year in response to the inflation, but also in terms of the overall recovery in the economy in the U.S. So there's lots to talk about. There is a lot of exciting stuff for us to dig into during the semester. So what is the course about? We're going to look at all those kinds of things about the actual real world, but we're going to use theory and models to do that, much more so than in Econ 201, Principles of Macroeconomics. We're going to look at, regularly at the economic data, the macroeconomic data that describes economic behavior, in particular in the United States. And we'll be looking at as that data becomes available every month. We'll be using some tools in the course to do that, and we'll relate that to real-world events, and we'll be keeping up to date with those real-world events through reading the Wall Street Journal. And so we're going to be tying all of those things together: theory, models, data, real-world events during this semester, because that's really what we're about. We want to be able to, as an economist, be able to explain, predict, evaluate things, and we want to be able to use our models to explain the data, to explain the real world events, to give guidance, to evaluate macroeconomic policy. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing economics and not just listening to me talk about doing economics. We're going to be doing economics in the course. So you'll be actively engaged in using those theories, those models, and applying them to the data, and then also applying them to real world events. At the end of the course, the last 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be moving beyond the textbook and beyond those basic models that we'll be developing throughout most of the course, and we'll talk about some topics related to economic inequality, things that are not covered yet in the textbook, but which are of growing importance in economics. And then finally, what to expect in the course. In the classroom, we'll be using team-based learning, so we'll be setting up teams, and we'll be doing a variety of things when we're in class to make use of those teams and make use of peer knowledge and sharing. So there won't be a lot of lecturing going on in class. There'll be some that will fill in some gaps at times, but really it's about the work that you're doing, and I'm there to help guide that learning in class as you work in teams. That's going to require you to be prepared for coming to class, so we can do that team-based work. There'll be exercises and assignments that will get you prepared for that work before class. So for example, it's going to be important that you've read the chapter before we start covering that material, because it's not just going to be lecturing about that material. Blackboard is going to be the hub for the course. It's got all the resources that you need for the course, or links to other resources outside of Blackboard. It's the main communication tool that we'll use throughout the semester. You will need to check Blackboard every day. There are all sorts of resources, including videos, including links to other material, to data. It's where we'll hand in assignments. So it's really important that you get a good understanding of how the Blackboard site is set up and what resources are available there. In order to do the economics, we'll have frequent assignments in the course, and that's related to the next check item there. It's going to be really important for you to stay on top of things. There's nothing that is overly complex, overly demanding in terms of your intellectual knowledge, but what sometimes trips students up is keeping on top of things along the way. So it's going to be really important for you to manage your time, to take things in small bites, to link your learning to what we've learned previously in the course, and the new things that we're learning on a given day or a given week. So managing your time is going to be really, really important. Keeping on top of things, keeping on top of the material, keeping on top of reading, assignments, etc. If you do that, you'll do well in the course and you'll learn a lot. Right? Remember, our focus in the course, as I alluded to previously, is on our ability to apply concepts and models and theories that we're learning about to real world events. At the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. So we don't want to just learn about economic theory in isolation from the data about the economy, in isolation from what's going on in the actual economy. We're going to be continually doing that kind of linking between and working among the models, theories, data, and what's in the news in terms of real world events. So I have one last slide here that kind of puts everything together in a nutshell. This is a recent Wall Street Journal article. We'll be looking at those, and I'll be having you summarize Wall Street Journal articles regularly during the course, because we need to be reading that on a regular basis to understand what's going on in the actual economy. You'll see a diagram down in the lower right, Fred, with some data. That's the most recent unemployment rate data. We'll be looking at a variety of different macroeconomic data in the course, and then we'll be using graphs, in particular graphical models, to try and explain, predict, evaluate what's going on in the economy, and to try and understand the data and understand what's being discussed in the news. And if we do all that, we'll be able to bring that all together, and we have a really good understanding that you'll take away from the course about the role that macroeconomic theory plays in really understanding the economy. And you'll have an assignment at the end of the semester to bring this all together to create a macroeconomic briefing report with predictions for what's going to happen over the next 6 months following the end of the course, based on the knowledge that you've gained using your models, using the data, and you keeping up to date with what's going on in the actual economy. Again, there's a lot going on in macroeconomics. It's a great time to be taking this course. I look forward to a great semester working together with you, and I'll be looking forward to see you in class each and every day.